Welcome into the Week 1 NFL Sunday recap here at South Harmon. It was a crazy week. Calvin Ridley came back incredible on his debut. Brandon Aiyuk had a huge week. Christian McCaffrey. The unbelievable game between Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa versus the Chargers. We got it all covered for you. We're here to bring you our analysis and tell you what we think of everything from Week 1 and how it applies to your fantasy teams and dynasty teams. Let's hit that intro.
Triumph in the trap.
This is for the dollar.
Do you believe in miracles?
Hey, I play chess, but only in 4D. I'm by myself, but they think I'm 4D. When they see me online, they think they know me. Go ahead, like and subscribe, you gotta show me. I applied pressure and they tried to reject it. Clearly ain't see I was a diamond, so they didn't accept it. Told me I was a failure, so I said F it. Might even start my own school and teach them a lesson. Yeah, I'ma call it South Harmon. Fly down south and get the South poppin'. One day I'ma give you a walkthrough and introduce you to this walk tool. I know you lost, that's just dynasty talk. Cause you can't start no franchise without no dynasty chart. I took a break from the game, they throw my dynasty stop. Till I came back like Wembanyama, I feel like Coach Pop. I can't say that I'm the GOAT, cause you ain't gonna agree. But if I own my own farm, I can make the GOAT. Me, the ladies love the beard and they used to love the goatee. That's when I was a lamb, burning music on CDs. I wasn't born in 88, December 87, that was 16 days away. Might fly to Dallas, why not? I just got paid today. When I land this dirt statue, I came to fade away. Check the timeline for the stories and the play-by-play. My life a Patreon link, you gotta pay to play. I work 16 hours, boy, that's an 8 and 8. X Factor like Dez Bryant, my boy 88. Why dream light when you living like a heavyweight? This ain't a 1 week thing, we grind like every day. They know my destination, Devi, like I hang with Ray. If they ain't know my name, I bet they know my name today. Treat this mic like an ATM, let's make a trade today. Drop this on Fizzle Friday, cause that's my favorite day. And I'm gonna do it my way, cause that's my favorite way. They tried to put me on the shelf like I'm layaway. Told me it ain't no way, so I made a way. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, I'm glad you here today. Hit that Patreon link if you here to stay, Treat this mic like an ATM, let's make a trade today.
Oh, yeah. What's good, everybody? We got an intro before an intro. Thank you for tapping in. NFL recap, and we are always up against the clock here because we got Sunday Night Football. So, Adam, it was a hell of a week 1, baby, but let's dive right into it. What are we kicking this baby off with?
Let's get right into it, man. Alex says, I'm strictly here for the hologram. So,
let's go.
Listen, man, if that's what you want, that's what you came for, I might be able to get that to you. Let's turn it on, Mike. Elijah Moore. What do you think about Elijah Moore in his debut? The Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's talk about this game first.
This was kind of a synopsis of especially the early games. We saw some difference in the afternoon games, but the early games, bad offense, bad QB play, defenses way ahead of the offenses. Like a lot of these games were sloppy, gross, penalties all over the place. Elijah Moore, man, actually doing something. I think we could safely say, like, it was a little bit of a debate there for a bit, but Elijah Moore probably the best Moore between him and Sky Moore. Now, well, that's not fair. As good as DJ Moore, but still pretty good. Elijah Moore, I was actually pretty impressed with his usage, getting involved in the run game. Had a few targets, not a few, 7 to be exact, converted 3 of those. So Elijah Moore, 3 for 43. I like it. A couple carries on the ground, like I said, for 19 yards. So I was happy to see. I was going
to say that was the thing. The way that they were trying to use him, even just in the rushing department, like they clearly want to get him the ball. And I think in week 1, giving him those extra carries, just making him have enough touches to feel comfortable, like they do want him to play there. which he wasn't really feeling that in New York. I think that was a big thing for him. Pleasantly surprised, personally, by Elijah Moore. I think there's much better days ahead if that's the usage he's going to get, to your point.
And I like Elijah Moore, man. What's the next one? What's the next hologram we're looking at?
Let's talk about Nick Chubb, man.
Ho-hum, Nick Chubb just doing what he always does.
I mean,
18 carries, 106 yards, and hey, some passing work, baby. Some passing work. No Kareem Hunt, so 4 for 21 through the air. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go, baby.
It was. I think this is kind of what you're going to see from Nick Chubb. Almost 20 carries, which is anytime you get that's awesome. To your point, 4 targets, Mike. If you're telling me he's going to get 22 opportunities, even if this offense, even if like Deshaun Watson looks very iffy like we saw today, 22 opportunities, man, this dude is just good. Yeah. I'm happy with him personally.
You know how many targets third down specialist Jerome Ford got? 0.
All of now he did it. What's crazy to me was all the carries he got though.
I know, but he looked like booty cheeks, man. Like, fuck, leave Chubb in. I know you need to spell him. You can't run him every fucking play, but come on. Jerome Ford didn't look good at all.
15 carries for 36 yards. I would say the good thing is, though, they obviously want to keep him fresh. They want to make sure he doesn't take all the work early on. I think as you get closer to the playoffs, it might be even more workload for him. So, all right, Mike, let's get into it, man. What's going on with Amari Cooper?
Oh, hey, it is what it is. I mean, the Deshaun Watson wasn't exactly crisp. But it was a rainy, wet game. And, it's kind of like last year. We said this about the Trey Lance, Justin Fields game, first one of the season. When you get really bad weather conditions, it's really hard to take a whole lot away from the game. And, if Joe Burrow went out there and fucking lit it up and Deshaun Watson had the stat line that he did, I'd be more worried and more panicked, especially about Amari Cooper and him. But I'm kind of willing just to go, all right. It was wet. It was kind of gross. It was sloppy, and even Joey B out there, it just turned into a defensive struggle. So I'm good.
Yep. And obviously, I mean, similarly, really nothing from Njoku that was really worth discussing.
Nope.
I think there's better days ahead for the passing offense, but it just wasn't great. All right, Mike. Let's get into then. Let's talk about your boy here because.
When your quarterback only throws for 82 fucking yards, man. I know T. Higgins is going to be the one where we got a 0. Jamar Chase, man. A lot of people's number 2 overall pick and redraft, all right? 5 for 39. So fucking miss me with the T. Higgins hate, okay? Miss me with that
This
shit.
is the crazy part is I think there's going to be so much T. Higgins hate because there already has been.
Right.
He got 8 targets, right? Like, right. Do we expect this team to be this bad all the time? They've had really bad games versus Cleveland before, but this is pretty abysmal, man. To go. Remember we talked about how with T. Higgins though, what was interesting to me, we talked about how he was, if he would have played in all the games the full time, well, there are going to be some haters coming. Well, he played this whole damn game, and how'd he do? So. Right. I'm sorry.
Well,
man.
He was only 1 target behind Jamar Chase. Now,
speaking of
Jamar
which,
Chase got 5 of them.
Speaking of which, let's talk about this. Jamar Chase talking all kinds of reckless noise, man.
The elves, baby. The elves.
All kinds of reckless elf noise.
Then he got beat by some elves.
To do this?
Yeah, come on. And a lot of those 9 targets, too, he had a lot of screen passes thrown to him.
Right, they're just trying to get, trying to
miss me with the shit about him and T. Higgins. That's all I'm saying. Pump the brakes for week 1. Joey B was bad. That offensive line looked horrible. Cleveland's defense, man, to give them credit, they came to fucking play at him. I might be going and picking up a little Cleveland defense, in the redraft where we still got those.
Yeah,
I'm kind of excited, man.
They looked very good. I guess really that was it. All you have really in the Cincinnati Cleveland game. Cleveland looked really rough early, did a lot better in the second half of the game, but it was just a ugly football game all around. All right, Mike, let's get into your Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts.
Cool.
Let's talk about your Philadelphia Eagles.
Hey, the offense struggled, right? The offense struggled. And listen, this was probably the death sentence for me, right? This afternoon games. I'm so fucking done with this 2020 running back class. All of them. CH is garbage. Jonathan Taylor's holding out. I'm probably still buying him in Dynasty because I think he's really good. But the rest of these, J.K. Dobbins, done for forever. I'm good. I'm good. I'd probably just end up cutting the last share that I have of them because if I can't trade him.
All right.
For
Well,
a
if you don't want to get
good.
quite to the Eagles, let's go ahead and talk about J.K. Dobbins. It's is it time to just like get off of him if his Achilles is real, just completely abandon ship.
Yeah. And the Achilles test that they do is before MRI is like 93% accurate at him. So like it's pretty official. Like it's an Achilles for JK. He's in his 4th year. By the time he comes back next year, he'll be in his 5th year. That's even if the Ravens bring him back, which they probably won't, or if they do, it'll be on a heavy discount. Like I'm good. Any third I can get, he's gone. I saw Scott put out there any fourth. The problem with like any fourth is I just really don't give a shit about fourths. But I'm in agreement. Like if I gotta cut him, I'm gonna end up cutting him. So get whatever the fuck you can get out of him. I'm good, man. Like I don't think there's a scenario where I'm gonna fight the other side and say I'm buying JK. No, nah, I'm good. No. But that led me to, you want to talk about the Eagles. Fucking DeAndre Swift doing almost nothing, getting just massively outworked by Kenneth Gainwell. Fuck me, man. Like this running back class from 2020 is just so bad. Antonio Gibson was fucking horrible. Like Keyshawn Vaughn's
what's your take on
scratch.
this, though? I mean, Philly brings over Swift.
I know.
And the usage is not worth what they sent, honestly. Like, no. I don't understand.
4th-round pick.
But a 4th-round pick, like, look where'd they get Gainwell? Where'd they get a lot? Like, you can get guys in the 4th round that you'll give work to. This guy got, like, nothing, man.
The shitty part, too, it wasn't like Gainwell got all that work and actually did something with it, too. It's like, ho-hum, same kind of Kenny Gainwell I've known. Like, I don't really care.
What's happening? In week 1, if he's getting this little work when that offense kind of, could have used, you would think, of DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
I don't know what to even make of it.
Is it crazy to think that he's already banged up? Like this fucking guy?
It's not.
Out of glass. It's like maybe he's already bagged up and we're just fucked.
But wouldn't you? The only thing is there. Like I don't really remember seeing much of him on the report, injury report, and all that.
Nope.
Like 1 carry for 3 yards and 1 catch for 0 yards.
I'm good.
Remember when we thought the Dan Campbell thing was over, and that it really wasn't. So.
It was good to see him eke out a win, but from fantasy perspective, it wasn't that great. I mean, A.J. Brown could have had a pretty decent game for you, but he had a long catch that was overturned. DeVonta Smith got the touchdown, just kind of abusing people. So Smitty's going to do what Smitty does. Jalen Hurts he was okay. Like, he had some moments, but that anytime you're going against a Bill Belichick defense, like, he's designing shit to, like, fuck you up. So kind of is what it is. I'm just glad they got the win. Adam Baby on the other side. What's up, Mac Jones? Let's fucking go, Mac Jones. McCorkle in the building. It started rough. And his final stat line's going to have a pick, but that's all on Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne went full Kadarius Toney on that one. It was like, fuck yeah, here we go. Pick 6.
Mm-hmm.
Darius Slay took the gift.
What's your take on how quickly New England scored like twice there right before half? That was kind of crazy. This looked like it was going to be a blowout game, right? And then right before half, all of a sudden, New England answers twice, and you're like, whoa, we got a ball game. It was a close game all the way through after that.
Yeah, it was. Definitely night and day difference, I can say this. The Eagles got a fantastic defense, man, and I think everybody knows that. And for Mac Jones and this offense to look as competent as they did, minus the first couple drive jitters that they had,
good things for him.
After that, it looked really good, man. Big credit to Bill O'Brien, because it is a night and day difference from fucking Joe Judge and Matt Patricia last year. Thank God.
Well, I wanted to talk about 2 things. One, Ramondre Stevenson. A lot of people were very bullish, and I know this is Philadelphia's defense, right? They're in the trenches. It's not going to be
tough sledding.
Much there. Yeah. It's tough sledding all the way through with them. But, Mike, I mean, 12 for 25. Like,
he's the thing is, like, even if he has this one, and you pointed out on Start Sit today, Adam, even if he can't really get it going on the ground, he's going to be the one getting the catches. So his floor is actually pretty high. So he's going to be a very safe weekly play. So
I wanted to see. Yeah, I knew you'd go there because I think a lot of people are going to look at that 12 for 25. Oh my gosh, what happened? We knew this was going to happen, but maybe not that bad. I will say Zeke got a decent little workload, man.
Yeah, he did.
5 catches too.
Yeah, I'm sure we didn't queue up a Kendrick Bourne hologram.
We didn't, but you know who we got. You know exactly who we got, right? We got Juju.
Hey, hold on. Juju just did some things. 4 for 33. No,
it's a standard Juju day, you know. Yeah.
Right, not great, not bad. I don't expect him to go for 20. All right.
No.
For the receivers, man, Kendrick Bourne. Wow. Actually, this might be a guy you might want to go out and target, and especially for these best ball leagues.
Best balls,
right? Like, see if somebody's going to sell this dude for a third. He might be on a rebuilder, and you might be able to pick this dude up for a third, and I think it would be a worthy buy. Hunter Henry, deep tight end stash, right? Some of these A-Warp tight end, that's what we're going to call him. He's an A-Warp tight end for lineup. Best ball, obviously, you want him. A-Warp tight end, man. Go get you some Hunter Henry.
I remember when Mike was bullish on Hunter Henry and then all of a sudden didn't love him before the game. Come on, man. This is what you're going to see, I think. A lot of these like 5-6 catch games, nothing crazy, 40, 50, 60 yards, and you're hoping he gets in the end zone. Like, that's Hunter Henry. And I hate to tell you, but that's the reality where if that's what you are, like, that's pretty good relative to the tight end room in the NFL. So I'll take that. All right, man. Let's go ahead and let's talk about
pretty good relative to the tight end. Hunter Henry, tight end 1 on the week so far.
Well, that was to the recovered Ridley Truther's point. But let's talk about the first explosion, man.
We got
Brandon Aiyuk. Aiyuk,
yes.
Boy, went off, man. Went off.
I had to eat shit too early because Brock Purdy, to his credit, hand to God, actually did look good and competent in the first half. Second half was a little bit rougher for him. TJ Watt started getting up in that ass. Like, I just wish, for my sake, TJ Watt would have gotten his ass sooner, so
Sure.
I could have avoided all the people chirping at me. But Brandon Aiyuk, man, Adam, I feel so good. Probably about a month ago, I said just fuck it. Like, I just love Brandon Aiyuk. I'm moving him up my dynasty ranks, and you see why. This dude, 50-50 catches, yak, route running,
dude.
long ass arms, going and get the ball. I think he's set up for a good year as long as the San Francisco quarterback situation holds up. So if this is what we can expect from Brock Purdy, kind of just this, maybe good Brock, bad Brock, but this kind of steady, 250 yards, whatever the fuck he wants to do, and not being super reckless with the football. If he can keep that shit under control and Brandon Aiyuk stays healthy, he's going to lead this fucking team in receiving yards. And Adam, I would be shocked if this guy hits 1,200 yards this year if he stays healthy. Like, he is that dude.
He's always been, I think, like a route running savant plus athletic, all the traits you really kind of want. And he's been a little underrated. I think Brock Purdy showed that, like, he's not going to just forget about a guy like Brandon Aiyuk. He's the focal point right now of the receiving corps. Joka put this, Mike. He's real excited for the Purdy hologram. I'll be honest with you. I didn't expect this type of a game from him. So, and we also, I'm regenerating all these holograms, but it'll be here next week, and Mike's going to have to dine on it regardless. So don't worry, Joka. I got you, man. Say fucking less. All right. Christian McCaffrey. Another.
Still good at football, huh?
Very good at football, and then one of those long runs that all the way to the cribbo, man. Those are the type of plays that really change everything in fantasy football. When you can take a run like that and go all the way to the crib, like, there's not that many guys that really can do that.
Yeah, I love me some CMC still. Health is going to be a concern, but hey, like this, I'll take it. The weird part is, who the fuck is backing him up, right? Like, Elijah Mitchell got some work, but not a whole lot. And like we saw last year, Elijah Mitchell was getting a lot of runs so they could keep CMC fresh.
Not today.
Not today. That kind of shit just went out the bill. We didn't even see Jordan Mason, even though Tyrion Davis-Price was deactivated, right? Didn't dress. So,
but what's crazy is, Mike, to that point, you're destroying the Steelers kind of early. Like, this game was out of hand early, and you still gave McCaffrey all that work. I think they're thinking, like, all right, our time with him is probably limited. Let's make sure we go ahead and use this thing. So
we're just going to ride his ass.
This is a really good sign for Christian McCaffrey. He's getting 22 carries in a blowout game.
As long as he stays healthy, yeah.
Well,
please don't.
While that's intact. On the other side of the ball, man, George Pickens. Like, what are our thoughts on the Steelers here as a whole? Let's talk about Pickens first.
It was a rough game for all of them, top to bottom. They couldn't run the football for shit. Kenny Pickett kind of salvaged some shit in the second half, but you saw Deontay go down. George Pickens, the problem with GP is always going to be the fact that this dude, and there's a lot of people out there who are really good at scouting film, this guy just doesn't separate, Adam. Like, he's got to win on physicality or learn how to separate. Like, Jamar Chase isn't the greatest route runner. Jamar Chase isn't the fastest, but that late separation, right? that late separation, that little subtle push off, that little arm movement. That's how he gets open late in the route. GP still doesn't even do that. Like,
Right.
he just doesn't get separation. Everything is such a physical, contested catch. And if he doesn't learn how to do it very fucking soon, man, you're going to see a lot of stat lines like this where he's going to get hyper-targeted because there's nobody else. And whether he comes down with a touchdown or not is going to be the determining factor of whether he's going in your fantasy lineup and doing something.
Let's pivot over then to Deontay Johnson because, Mike, this one sucks because, like, here's the other thing, too. You can tell this team was going to give him the ball a lot. He's hyper-targeted again. Looked, pretty spry, and then this happens. And I'll tell you this, watching them play, my dad's over a big Steelers fan. I'm loving just telling them how bad they are and all this. But they really were. Their offense looks totally different without him out there because Calvin Austin, it just –
slow-ass Allen Robinson.
They can't – they ran the ball 10 times, Mike, including a run to Kenny Pickett. Like, this – for as good as this offense looked, I know it's the Niners, but – color me very concerned, especially if Deontay's hurt. I think if this isn't a big injury for him, this offense will be okay. But if you tell me that Deontay's going to miss significant time, yikes, I'm worried as could be about this offense. All right.
And this also feels like that injury that's going to linger, for multiple weeks, and we're going to shit our pants whether we start him or not in our lineup.
Soft
leagues.
Tissue, man. Yep.
If you're in best ball, you don't feel as bad. Like, you want to see everybody healthy, but you're like, well, I'm not going to get as fucked if he doesn't play.
Yep. So, all right, let's go to this real quick. Mike, I know we already discussed it, but we'll put it on again because Shane Joe obviously missed it. Let's just talk real quick because we're going to get into the game, the Ravens game. But with Dobbins, you said we're, at this point, getting rid of him completely, right? Like,
I'm out.
Off him for a third. Honestly, I would trade him hopefully for a third. If you can't, get a fourth. Or I'm probably dropping him if I really had. So I think you can get something just because of the name. But I'm out, man. It's going to be going, what is this now? Year 4, J.K. Dobbins, who already didn't really necessarily look right coming off of his ACL injury. Now coming off the Achilles, like, this is tough, man. I love this kid coming out of Ohio State, but the career he's had, all that, it's irrelevant when it gets down to your fantasy and dynasty teams. It's time to go, man. Time to go.
Right. For those of you watching, too, like I said something in the Discord, smart move might be if there's any of these free agent running backs out there that you can pick up or put in a claim tonight for that will run tomorrow. Kenyon Drake, Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt. Scoop them up because they're bringing somebody in. They're not going to roll out Gus Edwards and Justice Hill.
Look what they've done. It sucks for them. They've always been like, it's going to be JK's show, but when they're waiting, they always bring someone in. They're going to bring in a lot of old veterans. I think Kareem Hunt is one that makes a lot of sense personally, but we'll see who they bring in. They'll bring in somebody.
I could see the Kenyon Drake just because he was there last year, right? Familiar with that, not the offensive staff, but familiar with the head coach. GM,
Let's talk about the offense of one of the good parts. Zay Jones.
Yes,
Zay Flowers, because Zay Jones did get a touchdown late. Zay Flowers was one of the pieces that looked good. Yeah, I'm
sorry for the take I had to where, I was kind of dismissive about Zay Flowers potentially being over QJ, but the only thing was, I need to see how an offense is going to use a diminutive wide receiver because we've been burned so many times. Adam, if they're going to fucking use him like this and get him involved, not only in the quick game, the run game, but he's also running intermediate routes, like being used all over the field. Fuck, man, Zay Flowers is going to be something awesome. And that's pretty much the only highlight of this whole offense because everybody else was bad. Lamar was bad, turning the football over, fumbling it, just looked out of sync. They couldn't really run the football other than when they got down to the goal line. And then you get 2 shitty Justice Hill touchdowns. OBJ wasn't good. Bateman wasn't good. I know everybody's DFS play. Isaiah Likely, you got to start him. You got to start him because Andrews is out. He was trash.
You got to do nothing. Can't do nothing with him, man. OBJ was bad, right? OBJ had 2 catches, 37 yards. Bateman didn't do much. 3 catches, 35, I think was what his stat line was.
Yep.
Which, to your point, right? Lamar Jackson, man. Let me ask you this. I got to ask you, because I know people in the chat are going to be. Someone in here probably said something. What are you concerned? I think the big thing is Mark Andrews will be back. But this was, given that he had the full offseason, has been paid, versus a shitty Texans team, the furthest thing from anyone's expecting this type of performance. Your level of concern. Mike the McNutted's level of concern right now.
I don't want to say super shitty Texas team, right? They're coached by a really, really good defensive mind in DeMeco Ryans. The pretty much the guy at San Francisco who turned that defense even up a notch from Robert Saleh from before.
No discredit to the coach, by the way. I agree with that point,
really good
but they don't
coach.
have much talent on defense, correct?
They brought in a ton of talent recently in the last couple of years. And Jalen Petrie at safety is a fucking unit. Like, I love that guy. So they have some talent back there. But it is a little concerning. I'm not going to shit the bed on Lamar right away, though. It's a new offense. It's week one. I mean, the same way I'm not going to shit the bed on Joe Burrow, man. Like, shit happens sometimes in week one. Last year, DeVonta Smith didn't have a fucking catch, and even I was like, I'm panicking, and then we see what happens the rest of the year. Week one, we'd like to see better things, but we didn't. So it just kind of is what it is. It was a shitty game, and, we'll kind of just flush this one down the fucking toilet and see what he comes back with next week.
Jalen Hurts type thing, right? Flush down the toilet. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead then, Mike, and let's get into the exciting ending we just watched. All right. First of all, Tyreek Hill
What a game.
This was a statement from Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa in a game that was
you remember when people were fucking clowning him about his 2,000 yards receiving? Pretty good start.
I think he
start.
I think he remembered all you guys clowning him. Dude, I mean, this is like 11, 2, 15, and 2.
Yeah. And it could have been more.
To start the season off. Like, good night.
He wasn't fucking around. He was not fucking around.
Listen, what's your take on this?
Jalen Waddle's awesome, and he's going to have some big games himself during the year. But Tyreek is that dude.
No disrespect to Jalen Waddle at all, by the way. Tyreek is like, to leave Patrick Mahomes, do what he did last year, and then now looking at this, the ceiling is the roof, as they say.
I think Tyreek Hill is amazing.
Tua Tagovailoa, obviously, when Tyreek eats like that, he's probably going to have a pretty good day, and he did. No really scary hits that make you concerned.
Nope.
Let me ask you this.
One pretty bad throw, though, that deep ball he threw that got picked off.
I was actually just about to ask.
That was kind of a shitty decision. Like, what are you doing here? He kind of threw up a duck to I think it was Braxton Berrios, too, who was running that route. And Braxton Berrios is a smaller guy, and he kind of threw a jump ball to him deep down the field. I'm like, I don't know if that was a good fucking choice, man. That's probably not the dude I'm throwing a jump ball to. But other than that, moved around very well. Kind of stayed out of trouble. Didn't make a whole lot of bad plays. No real ducks. And his arm actually looked pretty good. He had some deep shots, and people always shit on him because it wobbles or whatever. But that one he hit to Tua, the last one, that deep fucking bomb, was right on the fucking money in stride. Like, Tyreek didn't have to stop at all. So miss me with the shit about Tua's arm. It's good enough. It's good enough.
All right, so let's go ahead then, and let's get over to the offense on the other side of the ball. So a shootout game, right? Kind of like what we expected.
Yep.
The over hits 70 points in this game. Justin Herbert, a great game out of him, I think, given what we saw last year. Let me ask you this real quick. They didn't throw it probably as much as people were hoping or thinking.
That's the crazy thing. It was a shootout game, but I'm going to think if the Chargers are in a shootout game, yeah.
Josh Kelly and Eckler, 16 carries, right? Like, you're telling me they got 32 carries between running backs, and they're going to score like this. Does that make you nervous about Herbert at all, or any of the weapons that are the receivers, other than Eckler, obviously?
None. But it did show me that this could be a balanced offense if they want to. And teams need to know that they can come and just ram it down their fucking throats. So it might actually open up the passing offense later.
That being said, because I agree. I think the offense for fantasy is going to be good. Let me ask you this, though. This team loses. I mean, it's Miami. I'm not personally all that worried. But if they don't start winning some football games, like, I feel like there's already people that were upset with how this team has played for a while, last year especially.
That's fair.
Like, what's the panic level of these guys winning football games, regardless of the talent and the quarterback?
It's gonna get there too. Like the whole appeal, especially around their coach, like that hot seat's gonna get very big, right? There were some bonehead plays, some bonehead calls last year. You had the whole offensive coordinator, didn't know his asshole from his elbow, couldn't call plays for shit. The offense looked horrible at times. This guy's supposed to be a defensive mind. Defense was getting gashed and gaped, and here we are, week one, getting gashed and gaped at least by Tua and Tyreek. So Yeah, I think the level of panic in LA, especially for the Chargers, is going to get pretty high if they don't start stringing together some big time wins. Like they're going to have to take one from the Chiefs, right? You're going to have to beat, your in division opponents, the Raiders and the Broncos. You're going to have to beat the shit out of them. Like you're going to have to put some points on the board and stout up defensively. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to be looking at a new regime as soon as next year.
All right,
they won't make it.
I don't want to exhaust the topic too much, but Firebrand and Stanley comments are already flying. Let's get to the next game because I want to let everybody get to Sunday Night Football. So, Mike, let's talk about this. First of all, before we get to the explosion, there's two people here that you've kind of been opposing that I think people have been holding receipts and they want answers for, so I'll help them. A-Rich first and foremost. Like, overall, the way he played, just give me your take on the game Anthony Richardson had.
He played well. He's got to do a better job of protecting himself, though. You just saw him take some massive fucking hits at the end of the game. Well, come on, man.
Can I tell you what that reminds me so much of the Cam Newton thing, right? Like, yes. He was so big, so good, and he could take those hits, but they're going to shorten your career if you take those over an extended period of time. So I'm with you. Watch the hits. There were some bonehead, plays, interceptions and stuff, but like that part to me is expected. No, like. I think we saw him go toe-to-toe for a while with the Jaguars. No Taylor. Pittman didn't do much of anything until later in the game. I think all things considered, this is about as good as you could have expected the kid to play.
Yeah, he did fairly well, and he's smart to feed Michael Pittman in the second half, right? Go to your best receiver.
Yep.
Earlier in the game, he's going to Josh Downs a lot, which was nice if you're a Josh Downs manager, but your best receiver is Michael Pittman. You learned how to throw to Michael Pittman. Adam, I'm kind of interested. If he kind of keeps this and stays pretty level, it's going to be a fairly good rookie year for Anthony Richardson. Now, it probably won't be top 12 like people want,
really?
Like people are drafting him. No.
If he plays like he did today, you don't think he'll make a top 12 team? Like top 12
QB?
Really?
No, it's going to be hard, right? Think about the performances from all the other quarterbacks just today.
No, I get you.
Right.
Where was he on the week, by the way? Just like standard scoring.
Right now he's QB 5. He's QB 5.
My point is, if he plays like this for the rest of the season, we're in great shape. Now, I think the point you're making, though, is I think there are bad games to be had here. You see the rawness. You see sometimes where it's not going to look like this. But there's my mother, trying to give a call to us.
Look at that. She's like, she wanted to chime in. She's calling in.
She's like, yeah, we got Anthony Richardson on deck. Let me ask you this before we get out of this game.
But I just mean, Adam, think about this. Like, you see QB 5 for the week, and you go, wow, it's 20 fantasy points. Joe Burrow didn't do shit. Josh Allen hasn't played yet. Patrick Mahomes had an okay game. Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones are still going tonight. Aaron Rodgers is a fringe QB1 as far as fantasy is concerned with his weapons. Lamar Jackson didn't do shit. Had a horrible game. Deshaun Watson, also not very good game. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm just saying, like finishing as a QB 12 or above for Anthony Richardson is going to be a pretty – if he does, holy shit. Like, all right. We want to talk about paying 3 firsts for him? Yeah, definitely. No question about it. I'm just saying it's a tall fucking task for him to do it.
Understood. All right, let's get into the other part of the game. Mike, Calvin Ridley.
My God. Completely.
We gotta have a serious conversation, man. Like,
yeah.
The way that he became, at least for me, the target funnel alpha, and that Christian Kirk was not really looked at, and Zay Jones and Ingram still got theirs in targets. A lot of things to digest there. What are your initial thoughts? Just watching the game, seeing how it went down, all that shit.
My initial thoughts is week 1 last year when A.J. Brown went over to the Eagles.
DeVonta
got hyper-targeted. DeVonta Smith didn't do fuck all. And I panicked. Now, we get to week 2, Adam, and it's still like this. Christian Kirk isn't doing shit. All right. I got to reevaluate my stance on Christian Kirk. But good for Calvin Ridley going out there and just, man, flat out dominating. Even doing stuff after the catch, which he usually doesn't do. He had some yak. Baby.
He did. He looked very, very good. Let's see if this will work, Mike. Let's give this a try here. So, Bijan, man, because that was how I felt about the entire thing. Kind of like twisting around. Tell me how this team runs the ball like they did, Atlanta Falcons.
Right.
And Tyler Algier out-touches and outshines Bijan Robinson in his opening game. Like, nobody saw this coming. I did think Tyler Algier might get a little more work than people expected. Nobody expected this. So just like, what are you making of this?
I like the fact, listen, Tyler Algier getting this much work, right? We look at the carries and we go, holy shit, but Bijan's also getting a fuck ton of work in the passing game, and Tyler Algier is not. Like, not as much, right? Bijan's doubling him up in the passing game. They're throwing him screens on the outside. The whole explanation I have is Arthur Smith really sucks at coaching football. He might win some games. He's playing the Panthers, so I'm glad he feels good about this one. But he's going to get exposed at some point. This guy I don't really fucking trust, man. I think he's pretty much the biggest fraud, right? Desmond Ridder looked fucking horrible. That's who we put a stock in the quarterback. He can't draw shit up. He can't draw shit up for Kyle Pitts. He can't draw shit up for Drake London. He's out here giving Tyler Algier all the work, not giving Bijan enough carries. I don't know. It's bad, but at least Bijan is so damn explosive and dynamic. The touches he does get, like, he's still going to be a darling for fantasy football. I think probably the biggest takeaway, though, is you should be buying into Tyler Algier for getting far more work than we expected or want him to, but it's still going to happen. The passing weapons, on the other hand, yikes.
Well, I mean, Mike, I'll just tell you, my analysis for this entire game is the Panthers, for me, like Sanders, a little bit, Hayden Hurst in spots where you either have A-Warp, you just don't really have one of value, or best ball, Hayden Hurst. Outside of that, man, Bryce Young, I think there's going to be a lot of ups and downs in his season.
Yep.
I'll just put everything that I have in holograms, Mike, like, we can throw this whole thing in the trash. It's this, all the receiving weapons in Atlanta, like, good night. Tyler Algier is the one beneficiary, I guess.
Don't need him.
Just don't.
Don't need a hologram for Zero Burger.
Man, it's so disgusting. All right, quickly to the Commanders game. Jahan Dotson. And just, what do you think of this game versus the Cardinals? Kind of one I didn't really pay a lot of attention to, but, Terry McLaurin didn't do a whole lot. I know he was playing with the toe injury. Jahan Dotson looked solid, but not great. The whole game was not very exciting or interesting to me, but any thoughts from this one?
Listen, the Cardinals, I don't think anybody think are really fucking good, but the Commanders struggled with them. They ended up getting a win. I think it also speaks to 2 points. We probably got to pump the brakes on the expectation from the Commanders, and you need to up the expectations a little bit from the Cardinals. Like, we want to talk about their tanking like we're playing fucking Dynasty, man. NFL teams don't do that shit. Like, they may trade stuff away, right? And we go, oh, they're obviously tanking. The fucking players don't care. The coaches don't care. They want to go out there and they win, and they're going to fucking play hard, and the Cardinals did.
Yeah,
the Cardinals defense showed up and made it hard for the Commanders. Man, Jahan Dotson, I don't know. We expected a lot more. Wasn't great. Terry McLaurin, like you said, we give him a pass for the toe injury. Sam Howell also didn't look very fucking good at times, like not good at all. So it's going to be interesting to see. The offense as a whole just didn't really.
Can I tell you the one thing? Two things to note for me here. Best ball, Curtis Samuel, for those of you who messed around cheap. Baby. One of the cheapest, like, solid, like, floor plays out there. I think just so quiet. Right. I will say this, man. Like, this is playing the Cardinals primarily, tied or winning this football game, especially down the stretch.
Right.
Antonio Gibson getting 3 carries. This is just –
I'm done with him.
This is tough, man, but – if this is the workload we're getting with Bieniemy coming over, and nothing's going to change. The only difference with Antonio Gibson and like JK is that Gibson could be the workload if B-Rob got hurt, right? Like it's honestly scary for him. This is 4 touches, man. This is crazy.
I knew it would have fucked up all my survivor pools, but just for the simple fact I want Ron Rivera fired as soon as possible, I was kind of hoping they were going to drop this game. Like, I was kind of like, fuck it. Let's burn this to the ground. Get Rivera out of here early in the season, and let's move on.
All right. Let's talk about briefly. We'll get out of here pretty soon, so let's rapid fire through a couple here. Chris Olave looked really, really good.
Yep.
What's your take on Chris Olave? Is this a guy that can finish as a top 5 receiver this season?
Stud. I'm really excited about this offense. Other than Jamal Williams was back to being Jamalful Williams. But when Alvin Kamara gets back, holy shit, this whole offense is taking off. Chris Olave was awesome. Michael Thomas back looking like 2019 Michael Thomas again. Even a guy I'm dunking on the trade show, Rashid Shaheed, even though he wears number 22,
Thank you.
fucking disgusting for a wide receiver.
Best believe that 22 is going to be on a hologram next week.
Yeah.
Bet your ass, buddy. He looked very good today, honestly.
Derek Carr in this offense actually looked pretty good. He had some plays where you're like, man, but for the most part, he was actually very good. Got the balls to his weapons, and the weapons are very awesome. But it is Tennessee's secondary, so I kind of...
Well, let's get over to Tennessee real quick. Derrick Henry, I think this offense...
Still that dude.
He's still fine. Like there's nothing wrong with Derrick Henry, by the way. Plenty of carries. It wasn't the day you were hoping for. The Tajay Spears thing is looking like it's only if Henry gets hurt. I just wonder, is this offense like Tannehill looked garbage today? Absolutely garbage.
Horrible. Put
like,
Will Levis in.
Will Levis, Malik Willis. Like I'm honestly concerned for Derrick Henry because I think the offense is going to be that fucking bad this year. That's the one thing. It's not that Henry's really looking any different. It's that like you gang up everybody to stop him and make them beat you through the air. Nuke was okay, but really nothing in the passing game that scares you. So
I don't think we're looking at 1,500-yard Derrick Henry anymore.
That's what
I'm
saying.
With Ryan
Correct.
Tannehill as the quarterback and how this offense looks, but he's still going to be a 1,300-yard double-digit touchdown threat. So still Derrick Henry. I just bought him actually while the game was going on for a second, a couple thirds. So if that's the price, is fucking buy.
The last game we got to get to is the Bucs beating the Minnesota Vikings. And Mike, let me ask you this. I didn't make a single buck hologram.
You didn't make a Baker, Reagan, Mayfield? What the fuck?
Yeah. I was going to make a Kate Otten, but I thought twice, Zach said, Kate Otten's going to be that dude for the rest of the time. Justin Jefferson is really that guy. Jordan Addison also.
Will be. Holy shit.
Looking really good.
Jordan Addison just speeding down the field.
I think I like that. I think that fast car type shit.
Yeah.
I think that Jordan Addison is going to be a beneficiary of being on the other side of Jefferson. Honestly, Mike, what's crazy is Julio was a lot older, but it kind of reminds me of like how Calvin Ridley was able to thrive early on plays deep because you're not going to pay that much attention to a guy like him when you got Julio over there. When you got Justin Jefferson, man, it's crazy.
From a fantasy perspective, too, from the Vikings standpoint, good for Kirk Cousins, good for Jefferson, good for Addison, good for TJ Hawkinson because Alexander Madison and that offensive line can't run the football for shit. They're fucking horrible. I know it's the Bucs defense, but it's not the Bucs defense from a couple Super Bowls ago. It's kind of a depleted Bucs defense, old in the tooth. Long in the tooth, however you want to say it. So the fact we're going to drop back and pass 45, 50 times a fucking game wheels the fuck up for all these pass-catching weapons, like the good ones. And KJ Osborne in a best ball, because why not? We'll throw him in there too.
Why not, man? I think, really, man, that's all we got.
And Mike Evans, ho-hum, going to go out and get another 1,000 yards.
Mike Evans was the guy I should have made. He was clapping back at me. So we'll have plenty more holograms. We'll have them run and rendered.
Rashad White, apparently not that dude. Listen.
Shocking. It's honestly kind of shocking given that, nobody's told you for a while that he's okay. That's what he is.
He can join Antonio Gibson in the fuck it. These guys suck.
That's one of the games the Bucs won, man, right? And he still didn't do much. So
against the Vikings team.
Better days could be ahead, but not the greatest day if you had the Rashad White trutherism. So as Fizzle said, hit that like button, family. We appreciate you guys. Week 1 is in the books. Let us know what you think. How do you feel about the holograms? How do you feel about Mike's takes? How do you feel about Brock Purdy? How do you feel about Antonio Gibson? Come at all of us. Like Cam Akers, he didn't even make it on here. That hologram was a wasted run because Cam Akers was wasted run and Kyron Williams outshined him. So you want hate, you want love, put it in the comments. We'd love to see it, but we'll see you back here, same time, same place next week, week 2, for the week 2 Sunday recap. We are out of this thing. Peace.